you see here, there's a rope, and the rope has to go on this button tensioner. So if I would take this, just to show you, this is how it's actually sitting on the button tensioner, this way. So this is how it is inside the button pocket. So what you need to do, once you insert inside the button back inside the sail, and you have to put the button tensioner back into the rope, what you have to do is practically doing this job here. It's nothing more than that. When you have to take it out, it's this. When you have to put it back in, it's just like this. Very simple. We take the button, for example, we put it inside, we slide it in all the way, button tensioner inside. Have something sharp like this, you can use this without problems. You just go inside, take the rope, and you just put it on top of the wings, simply like this. You can also just simply use the button tensioner to put up the rope. Once the rope is in, you just put the tension again, and it's done. So we're going to show you today how to also build a two-piece button. Two-piece button is found in the ACX, ACK, ACF and AC1. So practically consists of a 40mm tube and a 11mm tip, which is connected to this plastic connection part. So once the button is broken, you would have to take it out from the sail, the button pocket. Once it's out, you have to see whether it's the button tube or the tip which is broken. And so the part which is not broken, you can actually use it again. Yeah, so once it's out, you have to take out the duckworm which is over the button connection. You can keep it for later also. And as you can see, there's the plastic connector which is just here. So once this is taken, once let's say that the tube will be broken, what you would do is that you just take out like this simply the tip. You take a new tube, you put next to it the two parts which are broken, and you cut it to size. Once you cut it to size, you just simply put it back in like this, and it's ready to go back to the sail. So it's very simple, very easy and fast. In case the button tip will be broken, then what you would need to do, this is the button tip, so you would have the two pieces, let's say, which are broken. You just put them on the table together, you put them together to have the length. Then you take a new button tip, you put it next to it, this way. You take the button connector, you put it at the same distance with the one of the broken button, and then we just need to cut it exactly half a cm from the end of the connector. So in this case, you will need to cut it exactly here. This is the place where you will need to cut the button tip. Once you cut it, you can put the connector inside, and then the connector again inside the tube, and that's very fast. So we are here today because we want to teach you a little bit how to fix the buttons of your sails in case you break them in a shore break, or you have an accident, or you collide with someone. And so this is more or less what we need to change the button, the three-piece button we start off with. So the three-piece button is the button that you can find mainly on the AC1. They are the buttons counting from the top 5, 6 and 7. So what you need is an epoxy glue, which glues in 5 minutes. So 5 minutes epoxy. Then you need a measuring tape and a saw. These are the main things that you need. So first thing to do is to take out the broken button from the sail. So that will give you the right length that you have to reproduce the button from, because otherwise you don't know the sizing. And so we have here a three-piece button. A three-piece button means that you have a tip, which is this one. Then you have a middle section, which is the 11mm tube. And then you have the back section, which is a 40mm tube. So it's a 3-piece batten for this reason. And if you look in the sail, we are always giving in the AC1 a spare batten, which is the tip, the 11mm tube, and the 14mm tube. So you have the three parts. Now, once you've taken out the batten from the sail, so let's say it's this, you see that the tip goes from this point all the way to the first section, which is here. But the batten, the tip doesn't stop here exactly where the junction is. It goes in by another 12 centimeters. The 11mm rod starts from 11mm tube starts from this point and goes all the way to here, which is meeting the 14mm rod. But also this doesn't stop here, but it actually goes inside by another 12 centimeters. So the tip goes in the first 11mm tube by 12 centimeters. The 11mm tube goes inside the 14mm tube by 12 centimeters. So I hope this is clear. So when you're taking the sizes of the new tip, in this sense, just to show you this way. So we align the two tips together. We check where the tube, 11mm tube, is meeting, and from here, practically from this point, you have to measure the 12 centimeters. So if I put this down on the table like this, I put down this on the table. Then I take a pen, I mark the 12 centimeters, I mark where the tip actually meets the 11mm tube. And then from here I measure 12 centimeters. So this is the place where I will have to cut my tip. I repeat the same thing with the tube. So if I take the 11mm tube, I put it next to my original batten, just where it's starting here. So it starts from here, it goes all the way to here where it's meeting the 40mm tube, and then from here I go for my extra 12 centimeters. So now I have 2 points, one on the 11mm tube, one on the tip, where I need to cut them with the saw. That's going to be my next step. So now we have cut the pieces. So this is my tip, this is my 11mm tube. The 40mm tube, I left it on the side for the meanwhile. I will focus on this. As you see, the tip has this plastic over, and we need to take it out using a cutter, because otherwise the epoxy will not stick onto it properly. So we just cut it away with a cutter like this. This way. Okay. So I took out the plastic. I took it out exactly 12 centimeters, so I know where I have to stop once I will put this into each other like this. So this will be the correct length. Other thing is that before doing anything else, I need to sandpaper the parts which will be glued. So I give a little bit of sandpaper to this. I will do the same for the inside of the tube. Put inside some sandpaper, go inside as well. Make sure that part of it is all sanded. And so this is ready to be glued. Now this one will go in the 14mm tube. So 12 centimeters, where I just remeasure it again. 12 centimeters. I mark it. And I will sandpaper also this part, which will be glued inside the 14mm tube. There. Now these are done, so these are ready to be glued together, and I take the 40mm tube and I'll sand this one as well inside, on the side that I will put the the 11mm tube, and that. So the pieces are ready. I haven't cut yet the 40mm tube, as you see. It's actually as long as the whole batten, but I will cut this at the end in case I'm off by 2-3mm, then I can cut it to correct the last millimeters in the end, just in case I made any small mistakes in this one. So now I did this on the side. I take the 5 minutes epoxy glue, the epoxy, sorry. I put it in a container, just a little bit, just like this, just what is needed. Okay, mix it. And then I will put the epoxy over the whole batten. This way. Now the tip is a full epoxy, and I will put it inside like this to the point. Okay, so we glue the first part, now we're going to glue the second one. So we just put the epoxy also on the 12cm of the 11mm tube, this way. Once it's done, you take the 40mm tube and you slide it on top of the 11mm, and you go exactly to where you have marked it to be 12 cm. Stop. Once you've done this, you have now the tip, the 11mm tube and the 40mm tube all go together, so you can put it next to your original batten, and you will see how much you have to cut from the 40mm tube. So once this is done, you can just easily cut the 40mm tube, and you will have the new batten. Now it says that it's 5 minutes epoxy, but our advice is to leave the batten for at least 12 hours. So if you do it in the evening, don't even put it into the sail. Wait for the next day to insert it inside the sail, because then you're safer that it will not slide in. So don't trust the 5 minutes, but trust more 12 hours. And that will be it. Once you've finished gluing and you've cutting, just put some tape or duckling tape over the joints this way, so that you're sure that in the meanwhile nothing will slip. So you do it for this point and also for this point, just with the duckling, and you're ready to go. So this is the base batten. We have the tip of the batten, which goes in the base batten. We have an adapter, and we also have the batten tensioner. We're using an adapter with the batten tensioner because this is a tip batten at the base. Normally on all the other battens on our AC line, we are using a tubular batten, so the batten tensioner goes directly into the tube. In this case, as the base batten has a normal batten tip and not a tube, therefore we have to build an adapter so that you can actually use the same batten tensioner without having to change anything. And the batten tensioner just goes behind the adapter in this way, and then the adapter goes on the batten tip. This way, when there is tension, nothing is moving. It can happen sometimes that the batten tensioner, if this the batten tensioner doesn't have any tension because maybe you forgot to put tension or you changed something, then if there's no tension, this one may slip. As soon as you slip forward, because there's no tension, as you've seen, the button tension is dropping or moving, and therefore it will look like the button is broken. It's not. It's just this one which has slipped inside. So you can actually just move it back. We're not gluing this part. You could glue it as well. We're not gluing it in case you want to change the button. If it's broken, you can actually just take this out and you can use it again for the new button. In case you want to do something a bit more safe, you can take a piece of darkroom tape or any kind of tape. You can just put it like this over, this way, and just tightly put the tape around it so that it will not slip even if this is out, and so it's not slipping, it's not moving, and you will have the tension on it all the time. So once you've done this, you can put it back in and you will have the tension again on